This episode is brought to you by Lightstream.
Lightstream is the nation's premier online consumer lender. They offer fixed rate loans from $5,000 to $100,000 for practically any purpose. We thank them for making our show a possibility.
Love is love. You don't have to make a family by taking a traditional route. If these ovaries could talk, they would say,
I am a lesbian.
Black queer human being.
We are two gay dads.
I am a transgender man.
Trans woman.
Bisexual, non-binary, single parent by choice.
Can I never have nice things? I just want nice things.
He just got spit up on. Oh my God. Hi, E.
Hey, Jay.
We're having a messy afternoon, but ooh, how are you, E? I just called you Jay.
You just called me Jay.
I know my name.
Am relieved that the event that I had this past weekend is over. Planning an event of that scale in such a short period of time, I will probably try to not do ever again in life, but it was successful and it was fun. But I thank God I have people who are event planners, because I would just sit out a bowl of chips and, some folding chairs and go
that.
for it.
Event parties are no joke.
Yeah.
That's why we haven't had one for ovaries. One of these days, we're going to have a huge party.
Yes.
We will have a 200th episode party where we bring
Ooh,
everybody,
yes.
every past guest in. We're going to have to rent out a whole hall.
Wow.
Oh my God, dogs.
Dogs are coming.
Dogs are barking. It's
So,
just a day.
It is a day, but
Ooh.
it is Trans Day of Remembrance as well.
As you all know, we record these in advance. And so yesterday, which was November 20th to us, was Trans Day of Remembrance. And we all woke up that morning to the news that there was another shooting at a gay bar, which is heartbreaking. Like, what a shitty thing to wake up to.
Yeah. I keep thinking of the fact that we are a country in support of so many guns. When people have guns, you shoot guns, right? You shoot guns at people you don't like, people you don't support, causes you don't like, you don't support. If you don't have a gun, then the likelihood of you deciding to fight somebody, at least a fair fist fight, we got a chance. But once you pull out that gun,
I'm not fist fighting
not
anyone.
me. I would if it was like somebody
I'm not
saying, hey,
doing any of this stuff.
I'm not doing a duel. Like, at least even a duel would be more fair to me, because it's like back to back, 10 paces, turn and shoot. But
I'm not doing that either. I don't want to do any of that.
I'm not saying for you and I, but I'm saying, how do you get safe again going into our spaces, which are already hard to, I'm going to cry, which are already hard to find.
Supposed to be safe places.
Yeah.
And now you have to be afraid that you're going to get shot when you go. It's crazy. It's fucking crazy. And it was
is.
Trans Day of Remembrance. And they were supposed to host that morning, like an all ages drag brunch, the kids would be at. And like, just to think that really, like, don't fuck with us, man. Stop.
Don't fuck with us.
So sad. It was also my son's birthday. So we woke up. It was so exciting because it's his 5th birthday. We had decorations. Yeah.
Yay.
But then that put a huge damper on the day.
Oh, God.
It's like, shit.
Orion is 5, though.
Yeah, I know. Which also means this little podcast is 5 years old, because we launched it right before he was born. So that's how we gauge how old this podcast is by Orion's age. But we usually, as you know, on social media, post a little like precursor of what our tomorrow's episode is going to be, the new episode we do it on the Sunday before the episode. And I just couldn't get myself to post it because I just felt like I didn't know what to do. I was just paralyzed, and nothing went up on our social media until really later that night. I just didn't know what to say. I didn't know. It's like, what do we do? It's so sad. And I don't want this to be just a sad intro to a really awesome episode.
But it's a good question. What do we do? I was in a reading. My friend Peter Macklin wrote a fabulous play called Bullethead, and I was at a reading of it, and it talked about this guy who was the head who changed the face of the NRA, because the NRA used to be about hunting and sportsmanship and bullseyeing or aiming, targeting. That was the game.
You know so much about shooting guns. I'll tell you that much.
Harlan Carter, and it just. It's a brilliant play. I hope he gets to get it fully produced, but it's a sinking feeling. It's a sinking feeling because the majority of this country is preparing for war, civil war, again. And I feel that our side, the liberals, the queers, the right side, but not called the right side, we're called the left,
The left side.
Yeah. But
The better side.
but we're not understanding what's about to happen. Everything makes me emotional now. Maybe it's
It's been an emotional couple days, but we wanted to just light that up. My wife doesn't realize when I say I'm recording that she has to actually be quiet.
well, why would she? You're in that sprawling mansion in the heart of
sprawling mansion.
New York City.
Hilarious. Oh my God, it happens every time. She's off this week. But okay, so we need to move forward because I can't wait to introduce our guest,
yes,
Kierra Johnson.
yes.
Before we do that, you all know that not everything makes it off the cutting room floor when it comes to these intros and outros in the episodes. And so on Patreon, we've decided to release video of our entire intros, as well as we have video episodes of most episodes that are dropped a day early. And if you have a little extra cash lying around, you might want to join our Patreon. We've got various tiers starting at just $2 a month, and you're going to do a good thing and get bonus content. So if you're looking to support a little queer podcast, go ahead and go to patreon.com/ovaries talk to join our Patreon. We'd love it. We'd love it if you did. There's some fun stuff over there.
Yeah, especially if you're listening to us all the time. I mean,
Really.
it's the holiday season. But
it is the holiday season. It's time for giving.
And speaking of giving, Kierra Johnson. You like that segue?
Kierra.
You like that segue?
Oh, so good. Okay, so Kierra Johnson is the executive director of the LGBTQ task force. And
Kierra joined us to talk about where the LGBTQ community stands when it comes to the recent midterm elections.
I mean, we're going to have to bring Kierra back to talk about the thing that just happened, right?
Oh,
we're just going to have to keep Kierra coming in.
I want
to know what Kierra thinks about this. But she also, this is the part I wasn't expecting. She has a wild family building journey. We had so much fun.
So much fun.
Let's not give it away, but Kierra's family journey is amazing. And you're going to have such a fun time listening to the story.
Absolutely.
We love Kierra.
Absolutely.
Kierra's my new best friend. She doesn't know it yet, but she's my new best friend. No, she's never going to know it unless she listens to this episode.
She's going to listen. She's totally. And she's going to learn that she has a new best friend. I hear them.
Yeah.
Wait a second.
Oh God, here comes our fake assistant. Oh my God.
Ready to do it. I don't know why she totally. I'm totally.
Okay. Helen and Beulah, please roll the tape. Oh Lord, you gotta stop smoking, Helen. Okay, roll. Oh dear, roll the tape. Roll the tape. Hi, Kierra.
Hello, how are you?
Hi.
OMG, we have Kierra Johnson from the LGBTQ task force here. We have been alluding to this interview for weeks. We've been talking about it. We've all been scared. All us queer folks have been shaking in our boots about the upcoming elections. And we have Kierra here to set us straight and let us know how things are going.
Not really straight.
Not straight. Oh, why did I say straight?
Whoa. To set us queer.
Gonna get queer.
Kierra is here to set us queer. Ooh.
Before we say anything else about you, Kierra, and butcher who you are, why don't we pass it over to you? Give us your 30-second elevator pitch of who you are and why you are here.
Hello, I am so excited to be here. Kierra Johnson. I'm the executive director of the National LGBTQ Task Force. I just became the ED a little over a year ago, and we are about to turn 50 years old next year. We are an advocacy organization, the oldest advocacy activist organization in the nation, and we focus on furthering the civil and human rights of LGBTQ people across the nation, with a focus on strengthening our democracy, moving a progressive faith agenda, and really focusing at the intersection of issues where LGBTQ plus people often are invisibilized. And I am coming to you from DC.
Oh,
Yes, Kierra. Welcome. We are beyond excited.
We are, and I'm also I'm shaking a little bit to interview you because I feel like we're in the presence of like a really super smart and powerful individual. And I said to Kierra earlier, I said I feel like I'm talking to a celebrity. So This is a big
Right?
deal. This is a big
It
deal.
is. Oh, I should take off my glasses.
Y'all gonna make me blush. I'm a black girl blush.
Yes, black girl blush.
So
Yes.
not only do you do all this amazing work to further the LGBTQ everything in the world, and I say that so smartly, you also have a family, and we're gonna get into your family story later. But I think that we should just delve right into the election results, what it means for us, what's happening. Kierra, walk us through the shit.
Help us out.
Yeah, I think, the big headline is that there was not a red wave of victories, right? There was not this red tsunami across the country that wiped us out. And I think that was a lot of the anxiety we were feeling, was that, oh God, like we're about to get demolished. And we weren't. We saw victories across the United States, Massachusetts and Colorado, New York, right?
New York.
Yes. And so it's important that we celebrate those victories, right? We celebrate what it meant during a midterms election to see women of color, to see LGBTQ folks, to see young people really show up in many cases across many states in unprecedented numbers. And that I fundamentally believe that's why we saw the wins that we did see.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I read that it was like like so many young folks really showed up and brought themselves to this election. And like, do you think that partly that's because of the Roe v. Wade thing that just happened? Do you think that people really just kind of woke up and rose up because of that?
I think that was the straw. I think more and more people have been paying attention and seeing the different ways in which, frankly, extremism, fascism is taking root in our country. I think when people think fascism, they think countries and histories past, right? Like they think Germany, they think Russia, they think these places. But that it's taken hold in this country as well. And Roe v. Wade, the overturning of Roe, or the Dobbs decision, I think it pulled the covers back for a lot of people. But it's also, a lot of community folks have been saying this, right? When we look across the last year, the number of anti-trans bills that have popped up in state legislatures, the so-called critical race theory and banning of information and books about the histories of women and people of color in this country. Like, these things are all related, not to mention the curbing of voting rights. This is a multi-front attack, right, on our liberation and on our ability to participate and take ownership of our own democracy. And I think the Dobbs decision lit it on fire. I don't think anybody thought that was even possible. And when they saw that, they realized everything could be on the chopping block.
And the backlash of that action, because abortion rights and women's rights are not party issues. Just as many Republicans as Democrats get abortion.
Let's be real.
So let's really be real. And the family planning that is, you take away people's, I don't even get me started, but I'm not looking to be pregnified.
What's
that word?
Pregnified.
Yes, I'm not looking to be pregnified or to abort a pregnification. Howsoever, I am deeply concerned because I have friends and sons. One son. But can I ask you a question?
Sure.
My theory about all of this is that the white patriarchy is terrified because the numbers are changing in our country. And once the numbers fully change and the majority changes, they're afraid because there's a sense of retaliation might happen. Now, I don't think that's going to happen, but it seems like, it just seems like a fear when you've stolen a country and you've raped a people and you've enslaved a people. Right. At some point, you are always thinking, when are these people going to rise up and get us back? Right now, is that some of this?
I think that's real. I think you bring up a really good point because oftentimes we forget how the pendulum swings, right? And that reactiveness, right? Like this rise in white supremacy, this rise in extremism, this rise in magnification, if you will, is in direct response to our progress, right? So I think you're hitting on something really it's palpable, right? We're feeling it. I mean, not just the demographic changes in the country, right? The reality is that the minority is becoming the majority, and in some cases, we already have. And we are making progress. You know, we've made progress around women in the workplace. We've made progress around passing non-discrimination, right? Like we've made progress around LGBTQ plus liberation. And for many, unfortunately, white folks, that is a threat. There's not room for all of us to be whole, right? Somehow, if we get to live as whole people, if we have our whole humanity affirmed, then they're losing, right, their ability to live and thrive. And I think that's scary because when people feel threatened,
I would be scared.
Yes, when you feel threatened, right? Flight, what is it? Flight, fight, freeze.
Fight or freeze. Yeah.
They're fighting.
Because I've taught before, and I taught a creative writing class at the beginning of the pandemic. And one of the questions I posed to my students at the time was, if you were in the majority and you have for 400 years had majority influence, rule, and control, and could put your people in the places and take care of people who look like you exclusively, would you voluntarily give that up? And you know what?
Right.
I got to tell you, my kids are amazing. I was working in Newark. Shout out to Newark, New Jersey kids. They were amazing. They were like, E, I would never. Like, why would I? And I was like, but you got to help other people, right? Yeah, they'd help them a little bit. So I just think we need to tap into the truth of who we are as humans. And as humans, every group is afraid of losing a hold on something that has made their life a bit better.
Yeah.
And if we look at history has shown us that we don't kumbaya our way into massive change.
Correct.
Not in this country, nowhere. We fight our way into change. So how do we avoid that, Kierra? Do you have to?
I mean, I don't think we avoid it. I think we're in it. I think part of what you're saying is name the thing, right? And part of it is we have to have perspective, right? Like you said, no expansion of civil and human rights in this country was given out of the goodness of anybody's heart, right? There were full-on fights and people were in jail, people died, people were displaced, and that is scary.
And people didn't know for 2 to 4 years that they were free.
And people are on the front lines of that and experiencing those things even now. I mean, the body count of Black folks, trans, right? Black men, trans women, the body counts are growing, right? This whole,
and they're not publicized like they should be.
And school to prison pipeline, right? Like that's a frontline issue. That's not separate, but part and parcel to the fight that we're in right now. And so even with the progress, right, we've got to hold the both and. Yes, we are progressing. And as we progress, the stakes get higher, right? And those who are threatened by that are going to fight harder, right? Which means our work isn't done because we not only have to hold what is now the new status quo, we've got to keep our eye on the prize for what we need next, right? As it comes to liberation and equity.
It's so exhausting. When you think about it, it's just exhausting. And you can get to a place where you're just, it feels like such an insurmountable mountain to get to, but you just can't give up.
Yeah.
Well, and it's not all hours to solve.
Right.
Right? Like it is never ending. It is insurmountable in any one lifetime. But if we think about what am I going to do between now and the next election, let's not worry about the lifetime. If we can get clear and get focused, get strategic, get inspired, right? To be in it between now and the next election, what can we do that then sets us up for the next, right? For the next group of
Right.
people who come in, the next generation, the next, cadre of inspired badasses who are going to take the baton. We
And
don't
they're
have to solve
coming.
it. We don't have to solve it. We have a responsibility to pay it forward and keep it going.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm like on the edge
To
of my
gay it
seat
forward
listening to.
to
We're
a
gonna
certain
You better
gay
gay it forward.
You see it now, even with my kids. My kids are 8 and 4. My 8-year-old has no, like, just the progress. These youth, they have no problem with non-binary, trans. Like, it's no, mom. They're they. Mom, get it right. Like, they have no. We are raising. You're right. This next generation that's gonna take. We're gonna pass the baton. They're gonna take it, and they're gonna fly. And there's so many of us doing it because I do feel like we are the majority. And I think that the few that are in power are using their power to hold on to it, right? But there is hope. There is. And we have to remember that. But I have never been so fired up about politics since who was a president. I have never cared about politics whatsoever. And now here it is. Now I care.
We are in it.
Yes.
I got to tell you, I started caring with Clinton because he played a saxophone, and I was young enough to be. And he was the first one I got out and I did canvassing for in Kentucky, honey. But here's my big question I look at the political landscape, and I've worked with and coached politicians. Why are we forgetting our history? Why don't we look at history, and not just the history of the United States, but the history of empires that survive and thrive? We have models out there. We can take our democratic experiment, merge it with a model, and be the greatest thing that ever happened on this planet. But it's almost a denial of anything that happened before 1776.
It's so true. I mean, I don't know. Now, this is my theory. I think it's intentional, right?
I didn't want that to be
That's
an answer.
deep.
I didn't want that answer.
But also, if we are paying attention to our histories, we know how you control a people. First, you control information, right? And who has access to it, right? What information is even allowed, and then who has access to that, right? We control bodies. Women's bodies
Healthcare.
in particular, right?
Yeah,
so there's a
input,
control
yes.
of who gets to make babies and control over who is physically free, right? So incarceration, internment camps, right? And then who has access to the political system, right? Jim Crow laws, right? You pass a right to vote, and then you find other ways to prevent people from participating, right? And so we're seeing all of that play out, and for years, we've seen civics disappear.
It's still today. I just saw a TikTok video. This lady was at the voting site to vote. I don't remember what state it was. She was sitting in her car and she was like, I've been here since 6 a.m. The machines aren't working. I'm going to be working from my car. It was now 3 hours later. I'm going to work from my car all day long until I can get in there and vote.
Well,
And then she was like, I've watched cars pull up and leave, cars pull up and leave. And we need the vote in this district right here. Right. So
it's true. I mean, I don't know if you saw the story in Florida where, so a couple years ago in Florida, they repealed the lifetime ban on voting, right, for returning citizens. So at one point in Florida, if you were convicted of a felony, you lost your right to vote forever.
right.
That was repealed. These folks were told you now have the right to vote. DeSantis had people arrested, telling them, no, you don't. No, you don't.
Because it's not Florida, it's DeSantisville.
I'm
That's what I
like,
call it's DeSantisville. I don't
Arizona.
understand it.
A judge literally had to make a ruling that says you can't display, hold weapons, and stand in front of polling sites.
It's
That
crazy.
has to be a
you can't
ruling
make this shit
That
up.
you can't hold and stand by in front of places with weapons. What?
Yeah. What the?
Can I say, and maybe this is a little granola or, what's that, a hippy dippy idea.
I
shouldn't
love
say
a hippy dippy.
I'm using all
Tree
the
hugger.
wrong words.
Tree.
Maybe I'm a little tree hugger, but it seems like everybody is so hurt Our healthcare system is trash on trash on trash. So people can't even be okay. People are watching their loved ones die for bullshit.
Yep.
Yet Coca-Cola makes more money in this country than anybody. You know what I mean? Like the producers of the stuff that's killing us. So maybe we need love. I know that sounds so much, and I get, but like, how do we? I want to embrace Republicans. I want to reach across the table and not just in a fake ass way, but to really understand, what are you mad about? But the caveat to that is, when I approach those human beings who are actually open to have a conversation, we can't agree on truth. So if we can't agree on truth,
Right.
like if we can't say Independence Day is, July 4th, and you say no, where do we go? How do we do this without an agreement of truth?
I mean, I don't think you're hippy dippy or whatever we're calling people who
Love.
are people who want love.
And care.
I think it's necessary, and it's not love actually in a transactional or surface way, right? It is love of community, right? It is love of humanity. It is love of thriving, right? It is a deeper love than I think many of us know how to do. Like, we're lucky if we love ourselves. We're lucky if we've experienced love from someone who knows us well, parents, right? Grandparents, lovers, children. But what does it mean to deeply love and find the beauty and potential of humans that you don't even know? Just humanity. Adrienne Marie Brown for me is always a teacher around that. Like, what does that sound like? What does it look like? What does it feel like? What does it smell like? Like, what happens in your body when you see somebody you don't know and you're like, damn, I love you. And I have those moments, right? Don't get me wrong, I am nobody's like teacher of this. And I have these moments where I'll see queer people, I'll see Black people, or I'll see women, and I'm like, oh, I love my people. Like, so we know it. Like, it's a moment where it's like, how do we hold that, right? How do we
that
feel
look
it?
across the street at each other, like, I see you.
Yeah, expand
And
it.
how do we grow it for people who have done badly? So my son, during the Trunk days, I try not to say the official name, he came to me, he said, I hate Donald Trump. And I said, wait a minute, why do you hate him? I said, do not hate somebody arbitrarily because I do. Figure your stuff out. You have the internet. Go.
Oh, you're a good parental.
So he came back to me. He said, I hate him because what he's doing to Mexican people in the border, but he doesn't do that to the white people in Canada. And I'm like, there you go. Now you got a reason. But I also try to teach him not to hate. And so during that, I was really asking myself, I don't hate Chunk. I would love to sit in a room with Chunk and say, what's going on, baby? Like, who hurt you? And do you know that you're hurting a lot of people, honey? We can't keep doing this. You are very powerful. I'm sitting here shaking in my boots at you, Chunky. What can we do? How can we work this out? I won't tease your kids. I won't make fun of your wife. I won't do none of that. You don't make fun of me. Don't take away my rights. Don't treat me and other Black, brown people, women, queers like second-class citizens. Can we work this out, Chunky?
But we might not be able to work it out, right? And that's not
especially with the history that person shows.
Well, and like, it's the difference between, like, we get to choose to expend energy in particular ways. I can spend time hating on Chunk, or I can spend time loving the people he is invisibilizing, spewing hate to, making it harder to live and thrive. I can spend time loving them in an active way that can shift and change the dynamic and quality of life for those people. Right?
Because we can't change other people.
I can't. I don't want to spend. I don't want to expend energy on somebody who's not going nowhere. I hate what he's doing to my people. I hate that we have to be subject to this shit. And I have a choice to tap into the love I have for my people and figure out how I want to focus that and channel that so that love is seen and felt and grows and creates change.
Amen. Yes.
Let's talk about something good that happened in the election. Like, a lot of LGBTQ folks have been elected.
So
Yes,
many.
absolutely.
I
A
mean,
lot of non-white folks. I
state
mean, not enough.
legislatures into
Union County
Congress.
Township, especially. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
We had some really important wins. We reelected our board of ed, and she's a fabulous Black woman with great ideals. Is working together, and she won by 12 points in the last election. This time, 5,600 points. Hey!
Whoa.
And I'm walking into my community because I
love
grew up
it.
in Union County, and I'm looking in the room where they used to bring me in as the student who had good grades and could speak well, and I was the only little Black child in there, and I was like, "Hello, my name is," blah, blah, blah. And there were no Black people in the room. There was like 2 women, and they were taking notes. And now the room is a sea of diversity, and I'm like, oh, look at my little town. So it's changing
Yeah.
very slowly, and there's still a lot of bullshit, politic, and games to play. And it's not going to happen in my lifetime, but it is changing and giving me a little hope. And then I have the kid who's saying, maybe I should do politics. And I'm like, well, we did name you after the president. Well, Barack. To me, there's one president. It's just Barack. So
There's
love
hope.
it.
There's hope.
there is
The
hope.
youth are going to change the world, and we're watching it unfold.
Ashe.
Ashe. All right, folks. As you know, we talk a lot about how expensive these paths to parenthood could be, especially if you're a member of the queer community, like you most likely are if you're listening to this. And if you're one of the lucky folks who've got a high credit score, we know not everybody does, but if you do, you have more power than you think. We've heard that now is the time to leverage that score to consolidate your debt before interest rates get too high. You can pay off your credit cards faster with a low fixed rate loan from Lightstream. A credit card consolidation loan from Lightstream can help you pay off your credit cards and lock in a low fixed interest rate. You can even get your money as soon as the day you apply, which is pretty awesome, if you ask me. And just for our listeners, apply now to get a special interest rate discount and save even more. The only way to get this discount is to go to lightstream.com/OCT. That's LIGHTSTREAM.com/OCT. Disclaimer, subject to credit approval, rates range from 7.99% APR to 19.99% APR and include a 0.50% auto-pay discount. Lowest rate requires excellent credit. Terms and conditions apply, and offers are subject to change without notice. Visit lightstream.com/OCT for more information. Go ahead and do it. There you go.
Should we talk more about
Yeah.
love, Kierra love, and like your family? Can we segue?
Let's get
I don't
into
know.
it.
This is my segue hand.
I like the segue hands. Since this is the Queer Families podcast,
Tell
let's
us about
talk
your
about
queer-
your journey to parenthood. Let's do
OMG.
this.
Or maybe we should start back.
Your love.
You're queering out.
My queering out. Is that my
Yeah.
coming out story? Is that what's
Yes.
happening?
Yeah.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
That's cute. My queering out.
I'm making all this shit up on the spot. I don't have.
We're going to have to start trademarking this shit.
No, I was like, there should be a dictionary. Just start all the words like the Urban Dictionary that we like create. Just start putting
The
them.
Queer Dictionary.
Yes, let's
The
do
Queer
it.
Dictionary. The Queer Dictionary.
Oh my God. Long story short, I was. I told my kid this story. I was like, dude, I was straight until I was like not. I wasn't even in the closet. I just was like, no, I'm straight. And I am the best ally ever. Of course, I'll do hours at the LGBTQ Resource Center. Of course, I'll write an op-ed about Black, like queer history that we shouldn't forget. Of course, I will do. Like, I will leaflet for the gay like gala. I'm doing all like surrounding myself by the queers. And my boyfriend is like, "Do you think you might be queer?" And I'm like, "No, I'm good. I'm straight." And then I was not straight, and I met this woman at a reproductive justice conference, actually.
Of course, as
and
you do.
was like, oh, okay, something happened. My mom was the first person I came out to.
Oh, wow.
I was so stressed out. I was in the airport leaving this place. I got stranded in Denver, and I was like, don't be mad. I need you to listen to me. Don't judge me. She's like, okay, what? And I was like, well, I think I like this girl. And she's like, okay. I was like, no. Like I've liked my boyfriends. And she's like, okay. And I was like, so what am I? am I bi? Am I a lesbian? Is this just a phase? I was like, I just don't know. And she's like, do you have to know now? Like, do you have
Oh,
to?
mama. Yes.
Right?
I was like, no, I guess there's not a test or like a dissertation that is due on my,
That comes 25 years
you
later.
know, and she was so great about it. Like, she was like, do you have friends?
Wow.
Are there books? Are there people you can talk to on campus? I was like, totally, because I'm the Uber ally, or I was until
Right.
now. And so I've
Right.
got all those people in my world. My dad didn't take it so well. I was such a daddy's girl too. My dad
Oh.
my dad passed away, but he was 41
Sorry.
years older than me.
Mm.
And the first thing he said to me when I told him was, did something happen to you?
Mm.
So in his mind, I want to be with women because something bad happened to me with men. And then he went to, what did I do wrong? Right? Like, it became like, I didn't show up as a father, right? Like, that
Right.
was where he went. So, it took some time, but I was in a relationship with this woman. We ended up getting married. We're divorced now and still really awesome
Yay!
co-parents.
Oh, I don't mean gay. I'm divorced too. Sorry. When I meet other divorced people and Black, but with gay, I'm like,
So with
but with gay and
gay,
Black.
because we
It's
did
different.
that we did it hella queer and hella Black.
I want to know, how old were you when you came out?
21.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But he turned a corner and he shifted, and he spoke at our wedding and was like,
Oh.
they changed my mind and they changed my heart, and I was like
Okay.
blubbering and snot pouring out of my face. But what was even more powerful for me, so even after that, the two of us sat down and talked, and he told me about how ashamed he was of his own homophobia and how that played out when he was younger and in the military. And for me, I think that is the hardest thing for people to like come to terms with, like the pain that they've caused that they may never know, right? On other people, when someone they
Right.
love is also queer, right? And so for me, I'm like, if a 70-something-year-old Black man can evolve and get to this place, then there's a lot of, I got a lot of grace and patience for the evolution of a lot of people, right? Like I can hold that down. So that's my queering out story.
Oh my God.
Okay, and you got married at what age? Do you mind?
I was in my
Or what-
early 30s. I had my 12-year-old, so that was what, 30? I was 34 when I got pregnant the
Okay.
first time. So a couple years before that.
So how did that come about? So you get married and then and y'all decided to have kids, I'm assuming.
So I was so ambivalent about kids, y'all. I was so not that person. I was not like, I have a friend who was like, when we were 19, she was like, I'm going to get married and this is going to be the color of my dress and I'm going to have a kid and I'm going to name them this and I'm going to name them this. I'm like, I don't think it works like that. But I mean, I don't know, Holmes. Like, do they get any decision making in this process? I was the complete opposite. I was like, I'm going to have a badass career. I'm going to have a lover in every city and every country across the world. If kids come, great. I'll put them in a backpack and take them with me. Like that's
right. I get that. Yeah.
And I met this woman. I was organizing and she was a cop. It was my second job.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm at the body shop in Georgetown. It's by myself. She walks in. She's like, are you okay? And I'm like, oh God. Oh, good Lord Jesus. What just happened? Who just walked in here? And she asked me out on a date on Christmas Eve. And the rest was history. I was like, we dated, proposal in Puerto Rico.
A bit of a U-Haul situation.
I got married. And then I was like, babies, whatever about babies. We had a conversation about babies. And she was like, you know what? I love our life. I could take it or leave it. And, depending on what you want to do. But I would love to have kids with you. And I'd be really cool if we don't. And I was like, oh my God, I want to have babies with you so bad now.
Child, we want babies so bad. I feel like almost every woman I've ever been in a serious relationship, we have talked about, oh my God, are we making a baby right now? No, we are not. But we talked.
I was like, good. The minute she was like, I don't care and it's up to you. I was like, this is the sexiest thing I've ever heard. Yes, babies. I think I'm ovulating right now. Yes, go.
Go get the thingy
Oh
thing.
my
Go get the
God.
squeezer thing.
Oh my God.
So how did you guys do it?
We went to the California Cryobank.
Mm-hmm.
California Cryobank.
They got all the
Woohoo.
babies.
Right here,
We
shout
did
out to
too.
Cali
babies.
We did
Cryo.
too.
Shout
Yep,
out.
and used a fertility clinic in Virginia,
Mhm.
Dominion, I think it was called. And yeah, it was a trip. It was so funny with both of the kids. They tell you this is how long it's gonna take, like blah blah
Mhm.
blah, on average, whatever, whatever. And I'm like, and I'm a planner, right? So I'm like,
Mhm.
I've got right. This is what's gonna happen. This is how it will be. Da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da, da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da. And then I get this call. I'm in the middle of a staff meeting. I was an executive director in another organization, and I stepped out. And she goes, "Hi, Miss Johnson. I've got some great news for you. You're pregnant."
Oh.
I was like, "I'm sorry, but you said it was going to take on average for 4 months." And she pauses.
Oh
She's
my
like, "Yes, but you're pregnant." And I was like, right. Oh wow. Okay. Thank you so much. I was like,
I love all of it. I love
what is happening? Like you just went through a process, like, and you're still blown. Like you're like, what? Like it came
Right.
out of left field. Like everything
Because you
So-
Did you
believe
do
them at their
IUI?
word. Yeah. Was it IUI?
was an IUI.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
Well,
So your first
try.
shot.
Yep.
Wow. Wow. We talk to a lot,
That's
like there
great.
have been interviews we've done with people who are like in the process or about to start the process. And they're always like, well, we're trying to plan it so that my wife has a long vacation through the summer. So we're trying to plan it so that the baby comes in the summer. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And then this is like your first lesson in parenting that you don't get to plan shit
No.
anymore.
You
It's
control nothing.
over.
You really control
Make all the
very
plans you want and
It's
watch
all
them
done.
all get destroyed. But it
Exactly.
prepares you for life with them.
Right.
So
It really
Right.
does.
it's like, yeah,
right.
this is just the first of many plans.
So, and you used donor sperm. Did you? What was it like choosing your donor? We talk about this a lot. Like it turns into the search for Superman. There you
It
go.
was really weird. So I was in the middle of a campaign. I was in the middle of a campaign to get regulation around egg donation.
Oh,
No.
In the middle of it, working
Whoa.
with researchers. I am talking to women who have been donors for more times than they're like scientifically supposed to be. I've been in with women who have been denied and they think it's because of race. I've been in, we're in ethical
Oh,
conversations about, do you pay, do you not pay? How much do you pay? Who decides? Who does the genetic material belong to? I am in it. My wife at the time was so over me. She was like, can this not be work? Can this not be a work experiment? And I'm like, it can't. It can't not be a work experiment because I'm in it. Like it's just,
right.
Right.
so I'm going through these things and I'm like, I feel like I'm ordering jeans on the Gap website.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What wash do you want? What
Yeah.
size do you want? Do you want distressed or do you, right? Like, I was like, oh my God, this is bananas. And so, we got to a place, it forced us to talk a lot, right? About the things and there were things that came up that I know I was surprised about. Like, I was like, I'm willing to do this, and this, but there's a certain amount of meds, right, that I'm not going to take, right? Or I might try once and then I'm done. Because I'd learn,
Right.
you learn too damn much, right?
Yep.
So I was really clear about my boundaries there. She got really stuck on wanting to have a son. And I was like,
Oh.
so it doesn't work like that.
Well, it
It can
can.
now.
But I'm not doing that. So it's
Right.
not going to work like that.
Right.
And what's up with that? And she goes, I just want someone to throw the football around with.
Oh.
And I was like, you mean like you wanted your dad to do with you?
Mm.
Ooh.
Mm.
And there's that.
And it was just a really powerful moment for us to talk about our own expectations and how we bring our heteronormativity into into our queer relationships and into our parenting. Like, it was like, damn.
I mean, you're talking my story right now because I wanted a boy more than anything because I've had such a hard relationship with my mom. And I was like, you know what? I just need to not have mother-daughter issues. I'm going to have a boy. I started visualizing this kid when I was like a teenager. I was like, it's going to be a boy. So when we found out she was pregnant, and we were about to give up too. We were like, let's just go and live a fabulous life in Italy or wherever. And then, of course, our last try, IUI, she got pregnant. But I had to really dig into my issues about why I wanted a boy. I mean, I got one, so, it worked out. But,
Yeah.
And then here you are, you're non-binary. So then there's also the like, this is the thing we talk about time and time again. We queer folks, when it comes to family planning and family making, we have to be so intentional, and we have to have these real conversations with the people that we're making the babies with. We go deep. We discover shit about each other that sometimes ends in divorce, right? We just, we go deep.
How old is your first?
12. So I've got a 12-year-old. I gave birth to a now 12-year-old and now 5-year-old. And my current partner has a 15-year-old. So I get to be a bonus mom to a daughter, which was really funny. So that when the doctor was like, "Oh, you're having a boy," I was like, nope, I'm pretty sure we're not having a boy. Because I had
a plan.
I had these dreams that I was having a boy, and I was like, dreams are never right? It's always something not what you're dreaming. So I was convinced I was having a girl. I was like, I'm the oldest girl of a crew. My mom's the oldest girl. My grandma's the oldest girl of 11. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to keep this oldest girl thing going. Had 2 boys.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow, 2. And the second one, did it happen just as easily? And was it the same donor?
Same thing. And the nurse called me to tell me I'm pregnant with the second one. They're 7 years apart, almost 7 years. And she's whispering. She was like, "Girl, you are fertile, Myrtle." Because we were joking about it in there. I was like, I'm probably not going to get pregnant, but blah, 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 blah. Although women do have children late in my family. And then first try again.
Wow.
I was 40.
Wow. And you went to California Cryobank. So you started trying around 2009 and 2010 when they had maybe 6 Black people. Okay, so they had, that's when we started looking.
Yep.
So they had like 6 to 7 Black men, and then 3 of those had PhD and were like close to 6 feet or over.
Yep.
We could have the same donors. Who knows?
It is really possible.
It is really possible.
Could you imagine?
No,
oh my God.
I mean, these days.
I'm scared to tell you the number.
I mean, when they start doing, what is it, Ancestry.com, and they got 52 siblings.
There's no...
It stresses me out. I'm not even gonna lie. It is. I've like woken up in a sweat like, oh God, are they gonna hate me? Like, because they got 52 siblings now? Like, I'm like, oh my God. I don't find it, like, people ask all the time, was I stressed out about telling them like these things? And I really wasn't. Like, one of the best things a therapist told me was answer the question the kids are asking.
Yes.
Don't project more onto it than what it is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's I needed to hear that. Thank you very much.
The first time
I needed that.
Peach asked me where he came from, I was like, you came from love. I was like, me and your mom were so in love, and we wanted to have more love. And that's where he came from. He was like, oh, and that was it. Mm-hmm. Now he's 12. Yeah. You know what answer doesn't work anymore? That one. So, like, you evolve with their questions. Like, they start to ask really specifically, like, what they want to know based on where they are developmentally, right? Like, so it's like, answer the question and stop putting all your baggage on them, and you'll be fine.
And have the story for them.
And the questions that they have are nothing like, I keep thinking my son wants to sit down and have a cup of hot chocolate and really talk about the origin story. He's not there. I got to chill the fuck out. He'll be there. Maybe when he's 35, we can do that. But I keep wanting to talk because I'm so excited to tell him, even though I'm divorced, like, we were totally in love. We wanted you so bad. We were singing and clapping and praising God, had gospel music on, crying on the floor when we found out, like, you were wanted. And he's like, cool, Ma, can I go
No,
play
it's
Roblox?
so true.
That's the thing. That's the thing that Lisa, this therapist we've talked to, who deals with a lot of adoptive families and has adoptive kids of their own. There's this theory in the adoptive community called drop the seed theory. So you're always dropping the seeds of the origin story just in conversation, and the children will pick up what they're ready to take.
It's true.
And there's resources out there. There's books you can buy that you can read, like for a 5-year-old, about how two moms can create a family. They have them tailored to every possible situation.
Really
you know, there's so many ways for us to talk about our families, and our kids show up in the world like really well informed about all
they
of
sure
this
do.
stuff.
They sure do.
Are you co-parenting happily, healthfully, and successfully?
I think so. So I'm in a relationship now with a trans man, genderqueer, depending on the day. And they have a 15-year-old daughter who's here every other week, who I adore.
Amazing.
My ex-wife, so this is really a trip. So after the divorce, I got the sperm in the divorce, and I was single. We were, co-parenting. It had gotten better.
So you only had the one at this point?
I only had the one.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, my dad passed away, and then all of a sudden I was inspired. I was like, I need to have another baby because my dad died. Maybe I needed a beat, but it's okay.
We do things. Mourning is very interesting.
So I was inspired. I was like, I'm going to do this. I'm a strong Black queer woman. I can do this. Like, I am, I got this. I don't need nobody. I can do this. Anyway, got pregnant again. First trimester's over. And I'm like, I guess I got to start telling people that I'm pregnant. So two things. One, I was dating this woman and it was not going well anyway. And I was like, you want to go have a drink? So we go sit down at the bar. I'm having, I don't know, sparkling water, just having a wine. And I was like, let's talk about why this didn't work out. I'm good. We're cool. And I just want to let you know I'm pregnant. And she's like, I was like, I know it's weird because if you were a dude, you'd ask, is it mine? But it's not. It's not.
But that's a pickup line for lesbians, right? You want to get a woman quick? Go pregnant to somebody and go to the club pregnant and say to some lesbian who's looking, I'm pregnant, I'm single, I'm not, this is not from a male person, but the male energies. That is the sexiest thing to lesbians.
Oh my God.
It is crazy.
Just see her face like, I don't even know. Like, are you asking for something? I was like, no, I'm not. I just wanted to let you know because the next time you see me, you're going to be like, holy crap. Then I told my ex-wife. This is one of my
new favorite stories ever, actually.
Ever.
That's a movie.
Ever.
That's a movie.
So I told my ex-wife. She
Did she know you were using the sperm?
Nobody knew anything.
You just did it.
My therapist was like, wow, you just committed and then rolled. She was like, okay. And she was like, same donor? I'm like, yes. She was like, can you just keep Patron shots coming? She's like taking shots. I'm like drinking orange juice or whatever. And I was like, look, I fully expect you to have some relationship with this kid, and I'm not trying to trap you, right? Like I fully, let's have a conversation about it. Like what feels right to you, what feels good. So time goes by. She's like, can we talk? I'm like, yeah. And she's like, I really want to co-parent the second kid with you.
Oh, wow.
Aww.
I mean, it was all afterwards, but at first I was like, but that means more time. Having to engage in this, really? Like you're gonna have you're probably gonna have a person soon eventually. I'm gonna have a person soon eventually. Is that weird?
But it's genius. It's genius because you get time. Like in the beginning, it was hard for me to share time with my son. Now I'm like in Acapulco every other weekend. I'm not literally in Acapulco, but I have time. And he's well taken care of, regardless, It's a
big old village, right?
It's a village, yeah.
We were good. It was like, I was like, okay, let's do it. And explaining it to people is always super fun, but.
It's this is a movie. How come you haven't sold this?
This is a movie.
This is a movie. Because it's beautiful because they are biologically siblings.
Yep.
They have the same birth parents.
Yep.
I mean, it's just fucking beautiful.
And
it's amazing.
The youngest one has the same birthday as my current partner.
Whoa.
Wow.
I mean, the birthday was fascinating. All the kids were at the
Yeah.
house. I go into labor. Best friend takes me in an Uber to the hospital. It's so DC. I'm in an Uber. I'm like, this baby is about to plug. And before that, I'm walking around DC. It's a Friday night. I'm
Yeah.
seeing friends at the bar, like,
Mhm.
hey, y'all, I got to keep walking.
It's
I'm
a
in
second
labor.
baby.
I'm
Yeah.
like, woo, I'm good. And then he like got situated and it was like luge time.
Oh my God.
My friend takes me to the hospital. My ex-wife is on the way. Ex-wife and new partner and all the
This is the
kids.
new partner that has the 2 kids.
I have the 2. Now I have the 2.
They have the one.
They have the 1.
Okay, so everybody's there at the
Everybody's at the hospital.
hospital. Yes.
I love
Everybody.
it.
It's like a
I love it.
whole situation.
Wow. It's possible.
So it's challenging, right? Like, I
Sure.
mean, it's a lot to navigate, and I am a Gemini, and I'm my grandmother's daughter, and so sometimes like I'm not like as attentive, right, to people's things, right? I'm like
all the parents involved, you mean?
yeah, and I'm a
Right.
highly emotional person, but my default is tactical, right? It's strategic and
right.
tactical. I'm like, who needs to be here? Who needs to do what? What is the information to keep the machine moving? But there are all these feelings, right, like that are happening, including my own, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
sometimes I'm not so good at tending to that. But the good part is they tell me. They're
Yeah, there you
really
go.
great at telling me.
There you go.
Absolutely.
There
So
you go.
that's helpful.
Your family sounds beautiful.
know.
They're
Like I want to
dope.
come to DC and
They're
visit.
so dope. They're so
That's
dope.
wonderful.
I just have one more question, and I know you can't
Yeah.
speak for your current partner right now, but you said he's a trans man, and I'm just curious, did he give birth to the child?
Such a great question. They have a fantastic like story to. Now that would be an interesting story
See,
for
this
you
is like
all.
we need to bring your
No,
husband. I
it's
mean,
true. So
Your partner.
your
my partner,
right?
so their kid used their egg,
Mm-hmm.
the same sperm donor as the kid that their then partner had,
Uh huh.
and
Uh-huh.
then his partner carried. Basically, was a surrogate.
So like reciprocal IVF kind of.
I've never heard that, but sure.
So they took your partner's egg and put it into their partner.
Yes, and then
Yeah,
use
and
the
then-
donor of the other kid.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God. Amazing.
Reciprocal
Yeah.
IVF.
Reciprocal IVF.
Yeah.
Jamie in this podcast has taught me so much as far as terminology.
So many things we can do.
Oh my gosh, it's a lot.
It's amazing.
really, really, I can't even imagine. I mean, not to get humdrum about it, but I think the love that comes from being able to decide
Mm.
how, when, with who, how many
Mm.
kids is so paramount. It's so critical. It's so
Mhm.
Yes.
evident. And that is the reason why, right, we are targeted, right?
Mm.
When you look at the
Mm.
things that
Oh,
are happening at state
Mhm.
legislatures,
Yeah.
they are coming for single women
Mm.
and queer couples
Yeah.
because we have the most ultimate control,
We do.
right? It's like the
Science.
most ultimate, right? Like when
Mm.
you think about like family, love, life, like givers of family, love, life, community,
Mm.
there's the opportunity, right? Like if there's the space for it to make those decisions like in
Mhm.
spades. And I think there's a
Right.
real fear around that,
Mm.
right? Because one, so many people don't have
Right.
it or believe it, but when you produce this kind of love over and over again, right? We're creating a love army. And I think they're
We
afraid of the
are.
love army.
Yes.
A
and we
queer
are.
love army.
Yes.
You've given
Kierra,
us a lot to think about, Kierra. Like
we could talk all night.
this is
like
that's
is-
deep,
but
though. That's deep,
that- a
and we are
queer love
raising these
army.
kids to go out there and make this world better. And I think that that's kind
Yeah.
of like the bottom line of this episode. Like we're creating these out of the box families, these out of the box situations, and the world's about to be better. That's
Yeah,
what
queer in the
that's what we
nation.
have to believe,
Yep.
right? But with
We're clearing
gay.
the nation.
But with gay.
with gay.
But with gay.
Kiara, thank you so very much for your time and
Oh
your
my
energy
God.
and your information. Oh my God, this is wonderful.
Oh, so good.
Thank you.
Thank you. This was so fun. It's so fun.
Thank you. We're so grateful.
Yeah.
Oh, damn. I love Kierra.
Oh my gosh. So knowledgeable. So
So good.
funny. It was just a lot. It
Really
was so
smart.
right. Ah, it was.
I'm just glad we were able to hold our own with like the epic amazingness that just happened. Also, I just also love that she was just like, you know what? I'm gonna have a
Yeah,
baby myself.
and did it. And,
She
and then
just
her
did it.
wife
Yeah.
jumping in, or ex-wife, the ex. Oh,
I
child.
know. Yeah.
That was deep.
I know. What a story. Our families are our bomb.
Our
That's what I have
families
to
are
say about
bomb.
that. We
and
are
the fact
so
that
bomb.
she stepped up,
We
even
are.
though they weren't together, and they're like,
I
honey,
know.
it also
It's
means
beautiful.
says a lot about their character. Because
Ah.
I can't say that I would do the same with my ex-wife situation.
Hmm,
Very interesting.
Interesting. I don't know. I don't know if I would either. Honestly, I don't know. That takes a really
Yeah.
big person, huh?
Yeah.
Wow, I love it. Well, listen, if you like this show and you love our beautiful families and you want to represent these beautiful families, you should head to our shop and get some If These Ovaries Could Talk, the Queer Families podcast merchandise, especially because the
Boo,
holidays
boo,
are
boo,
coming.
boo. We have all kinds of merch, and this is the perfect time to get it. Get it on the holidays.
Mhm.
So many designs, and you can put those designs on any product in the store. So t-shirts, mugs, notebooks, face masks, hoodies, laptop cases. Go to the link in our Instagram
Mhm.
page to get to the store. And once you get to the store, buy lots of stuff.
Buy stuff. Buy the stuff. Just go ahead. Go buy the stuff. And don't forget, you can also buy the book, If These Ovaries Could Talk, the things we've learned about making an LGBTQ family that I wrote with my former co-host, Robin Hopkins. That
Yep.
book is still out there. You still can get it. It's a beautiful, little addition to the podcast. And you get to hear some really awesome stories in the book as well. So
Can I recommend that to the non-queers? Non-queers who are really trying to be allies, get the book. Read the book.
the book.
Listen to how the stories are of families, and you probably are from or in a family, so it relates to you.
Yeah, it relates to everybody. All these stories relate to everybody. This doesn't have to just be the niche queer people. It's everyone. It's for everyone. And then don't forget to join us on Patreon and help us create this super important queer content. It's so important. Representation matters so much. Head to patreon.com/ovaries talk to sign up for Patreon and get that bonus content.
Head on over to our social media, Ovaries Talk on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and the TikToks.
And a huge thank you to our sponsor, Lightstream. Lightstream is the nation's premier online consumer lender, and they offer low-interest, fixed-rate loans from $5,000 to $100,000 for practically any purpose.
Yes. Huge thank you to all of you who are already our Patreoners. I make up words.
Yeah,
who are helping
I
us
like
make
it.
this show. We thank and
Yes.
appreciate you so much.
Yes, thank you so much. Without further ado,
Adieu.
adieu, eggs,
Eggs,
ovaries,
out.
We're out. We're out. Ovaries
Peace.
out.
If these ovaries could talk, they would say, Eggs, ovaries out.